Fade to me. Welcome to the Sunday live stream this Sunday. I try to make them between either Sunday or Saturday because sometimes I have stuff going on Saturdays and sometimes I have stuff going on Sundays. This week I had a lot of stuff going on Saturday. So I recorded a choir concert. It was called Schubert's Massing. That was a joke. It's actually Massin G, but it looks like Massing. So I did a Schubert recording, and then I did a concert right after that. I played a concert, so I played a jazz concert, which was a lot of fun. And a lot of people said very nice things about my playing, which surprised the heck out of me, because I was like, really? You think I play well? Well, thank you very much. I've been kind of out of it, but I'm glad I was able to play some music, and that was fun. I like to do some more of that, but I got to actually practice. So there's that. Oh yeah, there's the Oscars today. So a friend invited me to an Oscar party at a movie theater, and it would be actually happening now. And I was like, well, I got a lot of stuff to do, and I need to stream. That's one of my jobs. So if you're watching me stream, it's not because this is just it has to be. You have to treat it like a responsibility. You have to do this. It's fun. Obviously, that's why I'm here, but it's obviously, I've got to keep it consistent, relatively consistent. So, but I would have, I was kind of thinking about going, but I'm also super exhausted from that Saturday because I literally had to pack up the choir concert like super fast and get to my show, and I was like already there like only 20 minutes before the start of the show, so not much time. Anyhow, and then last week I've been just kind of slammed with work and just haven't done much of anything other than just plowing through work. Putting my mom in the residential care gave me a lot of free time, and I've just been overspending it on work. I put a Facebook thing. I said, I miss the taste of workahol. So that's what I have been doing a lot of. Hey, thanks for Centaur says... The William Fox doc was great. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching that. Good evening, account for comment. How you doing? Is this live streaming? It sure is. That's how you know it's live, because I just read your comment. Jack Ripper, how you doing? Andy, John Wick predictions next week. I say overall 6 to 7 out of 10. I don't know. I guess John Wick's opening next week. I have not been following it. The only thing less relevant than modern movies and actors is the Oscars. As far as I'm concerned, everything everywhere all at once, you just win everything, and that's it. The end. Nothing else matters. And I realized on Twitter, it's really popular to hate on that movie. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, I saw that movie and it's way overrated, man." Of course, it's overrated because you didn't get to watch it back in April when it came out. Like, if you walked into that movie not knowing a damn thing about it, you'd be like, whoa, this is an awesome movie. But now that you've heard me and other people like me yakking about how awesome that movie is, you're going to go in like, this isn't that awesome. Of course not. That's just the reality of the thing. Hey, you caught the show, Rigel. Hey, you're back. Cine Mundo Afora says, face blue smiling. Good evening. Is that actually an emoji on... Oh, there it is. It's actually an emoji on YouTube. It's not just words. Jack says he watched the Peter Pan Goes Wrong. That is probably one of the best things they've ever put out. Although once you get into it, check out that company. I think it's called Mischief Theater, something Mischief Theater, and they started with The Play That Goes Wrong, which is where the basis of all the characters come from. And then basically it's the Cornwall Cornwall University Theater production, amateur dramatics production. And basically every iteration of that is just more and more. So they did A Play That Goes Wrong. They've done Peter Pan. There's a Christmas Carol Goes Wrong, which I don't think is that great. Peter Pan's far better. And then they have the Show That Goes Wrong. There's 2 seasons currently out on it. They're both, the first season is a little bit better, and some of the episodes are amazing physical comedy. So that's my recommendation. Look for their shows are Something Show Goes Wrong. And I believe they worked with Penn and Teller to do a magic show that goes wrong too. So that's really cool. Are you watching The Last of Us on HBO? No, I'm not, because I'm not that big a fan of zombie movies. I've never been a big zombie fan. I've told the story before, but back in MySpace days, my most popular forum thread, it was like the most popular thread of all time on MySpace, was I'm sick of skateboarding movies and zombie, or what's the deal with all these zombie movies? Like, I was sick of zombie movies in 2008. Like the first iteration of modern zombies. I was very tired of it. So the thing about zombie movies is it's always the same cliche, heart-wrenching decisions that must be made. Like, someone gets bit and they try to hide it. It's like every zombie movie has that. They're all heart-wrenching, like life or death decisions that have to be made, and then the real danger of zombie movies is not zombies, it's actually other human beings, because they become super tribal, and so there's always going to be that situation going on. And in order to survive, I need to be harsh like this. If only the hard survive, the soft people get eaten. It's every zombie movie. I'm just tired of it. Anyhow, not to say the show's bad. I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I have no idea if I hear it's good, or I don't know. I hear all kinds of things. But that's what I take on zombie movies. Oscars is today. I haven't watched the nomination, nor could I care for years. Too busy with other stuff. What's the best Oscar movie in the last 5 years? The one that is truly a masterpiece. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'm sorry. I am a unabashed fan of that movie. Absolute unabashed fan. The fact that a weird movie like that can get completely can be embraced essentially by the mainstream today is to me awesome. As a half Asian, to be able to see Asians in an embraced movie that way, that is an American movie, is fun. But it's not just an Asian movie, because there's a lot of things in that movie that speak across cultures. It's not particularly Asian. I just love that movie. But I will also admit that it is a tad bit too long. But I don't know what I would take out of it. Andrew Bailey says, bring back the skateboarding movie. Totally agree with that. Well, I don't know. I'm not that diehard skateboarding. But remember when I started, it was like all the kids with their Sony VX2000s and the wide angle lens adapter shooting 4x3 DV video skateboarding. And now last semester, I had a student in my class like creating that style of video he wanted to ape the VHS style. Like, why would you want to ape the VHS look? Whatever. See, Account for Comments says, thanks for the Peter Pan play recommendation. I really liked it. See, I'm telling you, that's a good show. It was a good production. Do you think David Fincher is overrated as a visual stylist filmmaker? He does the same movie over and over. I don't think so. Like, I mean, Gone Girl is a completely different looking movie than others. I recently watched Gone Girl, and Gone Girl and what's the Zodiac are nothing alike, or Gone Girl and Seven are nothing like, Oh, there you go. Speaking of award show, tomorrow marks Canada's biggest night in music, the Juno Awards on the CBC. Yeah. It's going to be pleasant as all out. I think Chris Rock is going to be on it. I think he's going to make a remark about Will Smith. Canadian Will Smith. Canadian Will Smith will come up and say, "That wasn't funny, eh?" And then he'll walk off stage, because that's what Canadians are like. All right, sorry. Terrible. I'm not a good comedian. No, I should not be making jokes like that. That's very, very bad. Cinemundo says, I don't care about Oscars, but Pinocchio from Del Toro deserves a win. Except don't give it for the music. I hope they're not being nominated for music. All right. So anybody that still came on board to listen to me talk about the topic, Rigel says, hey, easy on the appropriation, pal. You better watch it there. or we'll have to have some words. Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll have to watch some words. Be careful there, buddy. Or maybe when I bring over my present, it won't be so. Okay, that's terrible. Enough of that. I was gonna say if I bring over my present, maybe I won't bring as many flapjacks. Maybe I'll go a little bit light on the maple syrup. You never know. Terrible, terrible. I think I should just get canceled for that. I should just end the show. Bye. Just kidding. Sorry. The horrible use of the fade is black. I'm not your buddy, friend. Yeah, there's a scene I was talking about this last week. There's a scene in Candy between James Coburn and John Huston where it is literally that. I'm not your buddy, friend. Don't make me write a letter. I wonder if I could find that. I wonder if I could just find it on YouTube and then get this show demonetized. Let's see if we can do that. I know when the Millhouses out there are saying, when are we going to get to the fireworks factory, guys? I talked about Oscars. Well, we talked a little bit about Oscars. I don't know exactly who's up. I remember like the best picture category had like 10 people, including Avatar 2 and Top Gun. Those are just literally just in there just to get a few, pretend like they get people to care about the Oscars. I don't think that they're going to win. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably going to win just because of the momentum it has going into it. I think it deserves to win. I would not want to bet money on it because I probably would be heartbroken because the Oscars will do something dumb and give it to, like, I don't know, women talking. I'm not dissing women talking, but it's women talking. It's not. Everything Everywhere All at Once is much more deserving of that. Let me see if I can find that Candy clip. Candy, and it's John Huston, and I lost his name already. Fight scene. Let's see if we can just find that. Maybe it's on. Maybe somebody has it on there. Nope, doesn't look like it. All right, well, too bad. We'll talk about. I'm going to eventually do a video about that movie, Candy. Because it's so weird. Jack River says, I'm watching for the slap jokes. You should just watch the Chris Rock special. You just hear that thing. Who will get slapped this year? I don't know. Okay, well, so the other night I rewatched Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest was on Amazon, I believe. So I rewatched it, and the print looked a little dated. It had quite a bit of old film grain, so it wasn't a super clean print. But I'm fine with that. I'm not complaining. Just describing how it looked, and it's amazing. When you go back and watch a movie like that, how unpretentious the plot line is. It knows what it knows what it wants. There's not a whole lot of like deviation. It just goes for it. Like the economy of that plot is so like distilled and tight. There's not a lot of just wasted crap. It's not, and it's not it's a 90s 2000s movie when it's not full of meta jokes. Obviously, the whole idea of Galaxy Quest is meta. It's a meta, it's a meta take on Star Trek, but it doesn't feel like a self-righteous, pompous meta take that we would see in today's society. Like it is so different as far as like the I was kind of thinking, like watching it, thinking back that maybe it would be a little more not meandering, but a little more. I forget. I don't know how to even describe what I'm trying to say here. A little bit less directly to the point. Like there's a scene in there where Sigourney Weaver's her character repeats whatever the computer says. So the computer will say, "Red alert, enemy ship inbound." And she's like, "Captain, the enemy ship is inbound." And the other character was like, "Will you stop repeating?" It's like, "I have one job on this ship, and that's to repeat the computer, and that's what I'm going to do." And but like, there's not a lot of leading up to it. There's not a lot of talking about it. It's just right there. It's just distilled, super condensed. So And then what's fun about watching it was also trying to pick out some people like that have kind of gone to bigger careers. Rainn Wilson, if you know, I don't know if you remember, Rainn Wilson is one of the aliens. He's in the limousine scene, but you can kind of see him. And it's like, wow, he looks a lot younger than Dwight Schrute. So it was cool to see Rainn Wilson, see Justin Long, when Justin Long would look more like a teenager. I mean, Justin Long always looks young. He's just got a youthful look to him. But in this movie, he was more literally a teenager. So it was cool seeing that. And I don't know. I've got like some of a crush on Missy Pyle. Missy Pyle she's the girl alien that Tony Shalhoub falls in love with. Missy Pyle's got kind of a unique look to her that I'm totally, and she always gets to play these very interesting characters. I mean, she's probably a favorite of, what's his name? The guy that did Night Before Christmas. Well, he didn't direct it. He's got his name on it, right? That did the Batman movies. I forget his name. I'm so blanking on it. I'm sure the chat will throw it at me real quick. But she was in like, I think she was in Charlie and Chocolate Factory. I've never watched Charlie and Chocolate Factory, his version. But Mars Attacks, she was in that. She always plays like these quirky characters. So Missy Pyle. How can I remember? I know the name Missy Pyle, and I can't think of the director's name that did like the original Batmans, and that's my brain, dude. Because I was looking up Missy Pyle the other day. That's why I knew. Why isn't chat telling me? Chat, tell me. Tim Burton. Thank you, Rigel7. There you go. So Tim Burton, yeah. So yeah, Missy Pyle is always I'm just fascinated by Missy Pyle. That's her name, Missy Pyle. Not Miss Pyle, it's Missy Pyle. But anyhow, yeah, Galaxy Quest was a fun revisit, and and I was kind of watching it also to just look at Tim Allen's acting, because in some ways Tim Allen is not known for being an actor. He's obviously a stand-up comedian. His background, stand-up comedian. He's obviously done acting in terms of sitcoms like Home Improvement. And we talk about Home Improvement too one of these days. It's Miss Pyle if you're nasty. Oh my God. But don't miss Pyle. Pile on. All right, never mind. But Tim Allen, is never known to be he's not an actor with great range. Let's put it that way. But watching him in Galaxy Quest, he's not imitating Shatner. He's not doing a Shatner performance, but it's interesting to see how he kind of, like, what choices is he making in this role? Is he just kind of playing like narcissistic kind of approach, or is he, what's his choices? And I was trying to figure it out, not to get too super like intellectual about it. He's obviously making some choices. He's doing some things. He's playing the character of hero and a star actor kind of a thing, but he's not necessarily doing an impersonation. So I think that was interesting to look at that. Sigourney Weaver looks hot in that movie. It's amazing. Is the Oscars still have relevance for film crews? I know that directors and actresses really could not care as much, but what about editing and other stuff? Yeah, it still does. I mean, if you're in Hollywood, it does. If that's your game, that's your game, right? Like, Oscars are always, the people that care most about the Oscars are going to be in the industry. Of course, the industry folks also get their Oscars pushed aside. They don't get televised. It's usually usually the day before they have a luncheon, and they hand out the technical Oscars, the ones that people probably care about really more. But the thing is, though, the show, like, it's hard to say how they matter, because I feel like maybe we don't care about what the Oscars are today, but if whoever wins the best actress in like next year is going to be able to demand more money from a studio. and I was watching some stuff about Miss Marvel, right, and talking about Brie Larson and how Brie Larson, they it was I think it was like Chris Gore who was talking about it, but like how Brie Larson's like not really a nice. She doesn't come off as friendly and approachable and fun. She kind of comes off as standoffish, which are maybe what I come off on my in my YouTube comments. But the fact of the matter is, she got the Miss Marvel role after winning her Oscar for The Room, or just Room. I think it's The Room, right? She played a mother who was like being held captive, and her son, like they're being held in a room for like 10 years, something ridiculous like that. But she got an Oscar for that performance, and you gotta imagine that the Oscar might have propelled her into the Miss Marvel role, right? Because now she's kind of a hot property. Gosh, that sounded terribly sexist, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. There was a time period. At that time period, there was like between a bunch of actresses that all kind of had a similar look. It was between like Brie Larson, Alicia Vikander, and there are two other actresses at that time that all kind of had that similar, like waifish, thin, blonde-looking girls. Anyhow, I'm just babbling at this point, but basically saying that for a career, if you're a director and you win an Oscar, that means more in the industry next year. Now, maybe no one saw your movie. Doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. The fact that you're now an Oscar-winning... that's how Damien Chazelle continues to be able to make movies. Because he won Oscars, right? Of course, I don't like Damien Chazelle, but partly because there's two reasons why I don't like him. Because he picks topics that I adore, and he ruins them. And number two, I'm just jealous. Because I'm jealous of everything. Everybody has more success. I'm jealous of. Hey, Matthews, how you doing? Being super annoying. I need to vent my frustration. Just leave random comments on my YouTube channel. That's okay. You drive my engagement score on YouTube, so whatever. Did I see the ones that you shared recently? I think you get frustrated talking to AI folks, and I get frustrated talking to anti-frame rate folks. But you just got to realize, people just talk online, and doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about, and it doesn't even matter. If we polled everybody and then about frame rate or something like that, and you could get like half the audience to say, from now on everything's going to be 30 frames a second, just because everyone says stuff like that doesn't mean that we should actually do it, and you can just safely ignore them. Canister says, how much do you think a studio sacrifices for an Oscar attempting to put recognized name for a good script marketing movie with the Oscar in mind? Does the win sell more DVDs after it's over? Yes. So going back to the original, and I was thinking about doing a video about this, but I realized that when I did the research, it wasn't that juicy of a story. So I'll just say it here. Basically, Louis B. Mayer was building a house in Santa Monica, and he wanted to use the laborers who built the sets in MGM to build his house. But the laborer's like, no, I don't want to do that. You're not paying me to build your house. You're paying me to build sets. That's what I do. That's not cool. So he was like, well, geez, I want them to do what I tell them to do. And they're starting to form unions. So the actors are getting unionized, and the laborers are getting unionized. Well, I need to figure out a way to control these people better. I got an idea. Let's start this thing called the Academy of Motion Picture Sciences. That sounds really good, because even though it's not really like an academy, there's no actually a school that you go to. You can't just you can't enroll in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. But it sounds cool. Right, so let me get a bunch of these people together. We'll create this award show, and then we'll give awards to movies that we make. So we make the movie, and then we can have them fight for the awards. So ultimately, Louis B. Mayer's the Oscars, the formulation of the Oscars was to basically control his company, to get them to do his bidding. It's like, oh, I know you want to make your movie, but make my movie and you'll get an Oscar. All right, and you'll be nominated for an Oscar. I mean, even better. I mean, that's good stuff here. So the whole thing was a ploy to just basically control his workers and avoid unions, and the unions still happen anyway. So that was the original intent, the original birth of the Oscar. And the first Oscar is 1927, if you know that. It's the same year the Sound came out. Wings won the first award, and at that time Oscars were only held every 2 years, and they're given out at the Beverly Hills Dining Club or whatever, and it was just a big dinner thing. That's all it was. It wasn't like super televised. It was held every 2 years, and it grew and grew and grew. But basically, the question is, how much do studios? I don't know the exact research of it, but if you were to look into how much money an Oscar campaign costs, I think you'd be surprised. It's like if you can get nominated, then the studio will put in I don't know how much it is. It could be hundreds of millions of dollars into advertising, tons of advertising, for your consideration ads everywhere. Obviously try to push out if you're part of the Academy of Motion Picture Artists, you get Oscar not preview, but you get like a free DVD of the Oscar movies. I know my friend Thurman used to be in SAG, and SAG used to get every SAG member would get like all the movies so they could vote if they were members. So stuff like that. So there's so much money that's put into the actual Oscar campaign that you start wondering, is this about merit? No, it's about money. Because if you can get an Oscar, if your movie can get an Oscar, obviously it raises its profile for everybody involved, the director, the producer, the studio, all that. It's just more ways to make money, or justify the price of the next thing that they produce. Because they say from Academy Award winner, Academy Award winner director Tim Conway, or whatever it was, So that's what kind of spoiled me about Oscars altogether, is just realizing that it's just all a ploy to advertise and just sell more stuff. So Funsky says, I'm a liberal, but I kind of get tired of woke messaging every film. So I was talking to a friend of mine that woke is not just being liberal. I would never go back and look at movies like 12 Angry Men, which is liberal. It's a liberal movie with a capital L. You can't go back and call that a woke movie because it's not woke. You can't go back and call something like To Kill a Mockingbird a woke movie. It's not. It's liberal. It's not woke. So I think woke needs something more than just it's not just messaging. It's like shoving the message down your throat kind of a thing, versus just, there's a lot of liberal messages I'm sure that conservatives would find absolutely down with, like freedom of speech. That old liberal topic of freedom of speech. Oh my God, conservatives love that. So there's a lot of, I think, equality. Being not having racism, not having segregation in schools, stuff like that. I think there's a lot of things that most people probably would agree. But being woke is basically like record scratch. Stop the story. Let's virtue signal right in your face. That's wokeness. That's wokeness. I think it's virtue signaling, but a liberal message could be received very well. Chris Temple says those DVDs, what do they call them? Previews? I forget. They're called something. Yeah, they contribute a lot to piracy back in the day. Yeah, because back in the day, that was really the only way to get a pirated movie, other than sitting there in the movie theater with your camcorder. That's the only way you could copy a movie. Because way back in the day, we're talking way back with film projection, you couldn't copy a movie unless it was already put in a digital format, and the DVDs were the first. Screeners, thank you, screeners. Screeners is the term for it. Yeah. Dirk Scheider says, so the Black Panther movies are not necessarily miles ahead of all other MCU movies. I'm not in a place to say too much about that, other than the fact that I think the important thing about the first Black Panther movie was more about the segment of the population seeing themselves in a story, in a story that was kind of geared toward them. Now, to be honest, could that have been all marketing on Marvel's part? Perhaps, but it was the first big comic book movie since Blade, I guess, if you want to go way back. First big Marvel comic book movie to kind of feature prominently a black superhero and all that stuff. So I think for the community itself, that they really appreciated it. I mean, some of the people I know, one black student in my class last quarter couldn't make it to class because he wanted to see the Black Panther 2 movie. And I asked him how do you think of it. He's like, it's meh. Because I think, the first one was such a kind of a cultural important thing for that population. In some ways, I am not denying the fact that Everything Everywhere All at Once for the Asian community is a little bit of that too, right? I mean, I think the movie is great outside of the fact that it features Asian Americans, but to say it doesn't have the Asian American part of it and feeling reflected in the movie, I definitely feel like that there's a little bit of that for me in it especially. Rigel says, I had a girl from Niger over a few months back, and she wanted to watch Black Panther, the first one, having never seen it, hated it in its view of Africa, and blamed me. That's true. Like somebody was saying, like, can you name an ethno-state in reality that is actually doing better than all of its neighbors? And Wakanda is sort of going backwards as far as like ethnic thing. I've seen people online who hate and despise 12 Angry Men and call it liberal propaganda. Sure. But I don't think anybody would say that's woke. Because look, when I say I don't think anybody calls it woke, I mean people that are going to be fair-minded and talking about what exactly woke means will not call it woke. Anybody can say anything about everything. I don't consider 12 Angry Men woke. I think woke is going to be a much more nuanced definition than just basically it's liberal propaganda. But it could be liberal propaganda. Hey Clay, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Account for Comments says, I've seen African American really like Black Panther, but I don't think it's about Africa. Yeah. Look, I don't think you can actually say any of these Marvel movies are particularly about one thing. I mean, to be honest, aren't they becoming more and more manufactured, just churned out content? Although I don't know, I saw a headline, I didn't read the article, but Bob Iger came out and said that they're going to be focusing less on content and more about quality. About time there, buddy. So hopefully, I'm telling my friend Tim and I were talking about like how like Disney needs to wake the F up and really seriously reconsider what they're trying to do. Because it is not good. I mean, look, it takes time to turn all these things around, right? Mandalorian season 3. Like, here's the thing. Like, I liked the first 2 seasons, and then I saw season 3. I'm like, what? Baby Yoda's back? Why? That was a fine ending the way it ended on season 2. But you had to watch the Book of Boba Fett, and you had to watch this, and then you understand that there's a larger arc. No, but I was interested in the Mandalorian. I wasn't interested in the Boba Fett movie. Too much. Like, just ruining stories. But that stuff has been in pipelines for years. It's not like they just decide, we're going to make a movie and tomorrow it comes out. So it's going to take some time to like readjust. But yeah, the Disney has just been pulling away. They've been dogpiling circling the drain essentially. They've got to focus on quality. They've got to focus on, and and I've said this before, they've got to reset themselves with the conservative parents, because that's a chunk of their audience that they've kind of just they've not ignored, but they basically just slapped them in the face. So there's a huge chunk of parents that would have been potentially Disney patrons, I guess, that they've lost. Now, how big is that? It could be small. Maybe it's only 5%. Maybe it's only 6. It's not. Maybe it's not that much. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's a virus. You can start small, but as it grows and grows and grows, and parents tell other parents, and parents it balloons. So be careful with that. There you go. Plato says it's movies with a message versus movies made with the full intent of pushing a message. Yeah, I think that's getting closer to what woke means in terms of movies. John, I forgot. Are you a Star Trek fan? I am a moderate Star Trek fan. Like, I have seen most of the Next Generation, half of the original series, and that's about it. I haven't watched Deep Space Nine. I watched all the movies, but that's about. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where the kyber crystals are going to be located in the starship. Jack D. River says Marvel movies are about people punching and kicking each other. That's the thing, right? All these action movies are sort of like that, right? And that's what I kind of miss. I like movies, the action, or I like sometimes these superhero movies get over because the solution to everything is just to punch everybody. That's always the solutions. At least with Wonder Woman, and even though Wonder Woman kicks everyone's ass, sure, but at one point Wonder Woman's more about trying to change people's hearts. That's what 1984 was trying to get at, but it was so weird. It was so muddled. Yeah, you're right. It's not kyber crystals. Kyber crystals are what? That's the lightsaber one. I don't know. You see how much I care, Rigel 7. You see how much I care. Cobra Verde is my favorite movie featuring Africa and the misanthropy in that film. It could be told in any continent. There is a in the play, The Book of Mormon, which I love. The Book of Mormon it's hugely meta. It's like a total meta musical. I think I talked about this. I'm probably boring all you guys. But anyhow, the Book of Mormon, there's one song in it called This Is Africa. And basically all the white Mormon missionaries come out and they start singing, This is Africa. Like Bono, I am Africa. And so all the white people are saying I am Africa. And all the black characters are standing really? Anyhow. The problem with modern superhero movies is that invincible characters fight each other flying through bad CGI. There seems to be nothing at all at stake. I noticed that, going all the way back to Spider-Man 1, I think. Like Spider-Man 1, where Green Goblin throws Peter Parker through a brick wall. And then he's just I'm a little hurt, but not really. No, dude, you'd be seriously hurt. Action movies, action movies have gotten to the point where the heroes are just so invincible. They can get shot, they can punch through walls and explode all kinds of concrete and all that stuff. And it's it doesn't feel like there's any consequences. They go back to something like Mad Max Fury Road, right? Because Mad Max Fury Road is one of the, to me, the watershed moments of action movies. There's nothing in Mad Max Fury Road that feels like it's an impossible thing, they're fighting, but they're missing, they'll make one hit, but it's not like they're punching through concrete kind of a thing. Mad Max Fury Road is still one of my favorite action movies of all time. So I just wish people get hurt more in action, or feigned getting hurt more. All right, anyhow. Yeah, Scorsese was right. I feel bad because, of course, because I think the lead up to Marvel, there was a lot of good stuff in Marvel in the first three or four realms because there was still epic mythos building. It felt like Greek gods, Greek mythology kind of thing, but in a cinema world. But then it just they threw away all that myth building in favor of like She-Hulk's crap. I don't know. That's what I hated. Let's stop putting popular music in every fight scene. Yeah. And can we please knock it off with the trailers that always have like a pop song from the 80s, but in a minor key? Let's make one. It's Annie, are you okay? Okay, Annie. Yeah, when are they gonna put a Michael Jackson song in a Marvel trailer? He's just a smooth criminal. I don't know. Pick a Marvel character. Doesn't matter. All right. Studios rely far too much on CGI rather than practical effects. Is a shame. That's a take. I feel it's too basic, right? So the problem is, I think the problem is not the relying on CGI, because CGI is useful for a lot of stuff. The problem is, I think, the pipeline with these Marvel movies is all this stuff is already built, and it doesn't necessarily have the director has no control over it. Essentially, like you're going to produce 5 Marvel movies a year, and the CGI pipeline for something like this is like 9 months of work. So I get a feeling that a lot of these shots in these movies, like Marvel movies, are sort of already pre-made. Like I think the director comes in and say the visual effects people like, here's what we have. You can tweak some things, but let's stick mostly to this particular sequence. Like it's all kind of just cookie cutter because you can't develop the movie. These movies have to be churned out so quickly. You can't have a director come in and say, hey, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to do it all this way. You can't really do that. So, everything, everywhere, Asian ones win once. So, yeah, I think that's the reason why. Now, you could say, like, oh, it's a CGI, they're using too much CGI. No, you can make the whole movie CGI and make it good. The problem is that there's a pipeline, like the factory has to produce this movie and release it in a certain time period, and you don't, as a director, you're just there to like say, just give your opinion on it. Hey, maybe you want to change that purple cape to a blue cape, that kind of thing, and maybe the director's there to kind of like get the actors to fit the script and all that, just to make sure everything goes well. But I'm not sure I don't think the actors in an action in like a Marvel action movie factory have that much artistic control over what's happening. So, and I don't think necessarily practical effects would make it any better. I mean practical effects might like limit, like you can no longer punch through walls. Well, maybe that's done practically. I don't know. But it's not necessarily reliance on CGI, because obviously, how can you get Superman to fly? What do you want? Like a strings on a green screen? That's quite the same. I don't think that would necessarily make it better. I think the more problem is the fact that it's just a factory churn out that movie. Let's see. Has anyone seen the new Scream movie? I have not. I don't even know there is a new. I've only seen the first one. Can you have super strength without super health? You can get both by drinking today's sponsor, Super Greens. Super Greens, the only... I'm not sponsored by Super Greens. I wish I was. I don't know. Getting sponsors is sort of like selling your soul in a way. I mean, there are sponsors that are insanely picky about what you can and can't say, and it's super annoying. But like I remember I did a sponsorship thing for HP one time, and I was showing off their laptop, and the laptop was able to render out the 3D Studio Max frame in about 1 minute per frame, and the whole thing would have taken 8 hours to render. Well, that's typical. That's actually that performance was equivalent to my desktop, right? But they said no, we don't want to. We don't want to say it takes out 8 hours to render a scene. That makes our laptop look slow. It's like, all right, whatever. Took it out, but it's just yeah. Hitchcock had a strong resentment toward the Oscars. Rebecca, his only film to win Best Picture, it was still an award given to producer David O. Selznick. Hitchcock didn't win Best Director. Yeah. Yeah, and don't forget, producers always win the Best Picture, not the directors. So Louis B. Mayer would win the Oscar for the Best Picture. Count for comment. I don't like the idea of a shared movie universe. I don't want to watch 10 movies to get what's going on. I agree. Too much. I mean, like you can do like a shared movie universe, but they're like Kevin Smith, like lightly connected kind of thing. It's only for the fans that'll see the connections, but each movie stands on its own kind of thing. Man, I miss the old days of Kevin Smith. Let's see. Taking a major key pop song, making a minor makes things extra, extra sad, and raises the artist and dramatic stakes to God level, John. I know. Have you ever seen that channel? He does songs. I forget his name, but he's a great artist, a great singer. Like his ability to make, he does stuff in minor key. Like he does like the toy. What's the name of that toy company that when I grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. Toys, he does that in a minor key, and it's so like epically sad and like I love one of my favorite ones is the Little Mermaid song, "Kiss the Girl." Da 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 da, kiss the girl. And it's just so like heart-wrenchingly, like makes you want to just go emo, dye your hair black. If I had hair, just start cutting yourself. Oh, I want to cut myself so I can feel the pain. Oh, like that was some good stuff. No, I'm not going to cut myself. I'm not there. Let's see. I kind of like the CGI in Suicide Squad with the villain that shot rainbow colors out. The one I saw, the one who saw his mom. Which Suicide Squad? The Suicide Squad, the second one, right? I don't remember too much of that. To be fair, Billy Wilder's The Apartment won Best Picture. The film is from the same year as Psycho. The Apartment's probably more along the terms of what the Oscar awards. Remember, the Oscars tend to award movies that are more like, dramas. Like comedies never win Best Oscar. Horror didn't win Best Oscar until but not the Silence of the Lambs. So it's they're like I saw an article this morning in the Hollywood Reporter, and it was saying like are we too sensitive for the Razzies? And the Razzies are rethinking their mission statement. And I was thinking like, I used to think that the Razzies were sort of kind of funny, but then I looked at the list of like the past Razzie winners, and you're thinking like, man, they gave Razzies to a lot of movies that don't deserve Razzies. Like they gave Razzie to The Shining. They gave Razzies to like Danny DeVito's portrayal of the Penguin and Batman, and they gave Razzies to Roadhouse. And it's like the Razzies are just basically kind of mocking whatever doesn't fit the mode of Oscar. Like the thing Roadhouse is a Razzie is like the worst picture. Like no, it's not. It's just a campy picture. So Razzies are sort of like a taste gatekeeping force in movies. So they're also not that great. What's your opinion about this year's Oscar nomination? Fair. They're fine. There's nothing that I would have put in there. I didn't see a whole lot of movies in 2022. So there's nothing, not a whole lot. There's not stuff I would say needs to be in there that wasn't in there. Like, I mean, I didn't see women talking. It might be good. I might get sucked into it if I watched it. But Have you checked out any Nerf animations? Basically, photogrammetry made from any video clip using Luma AI. I played with it a little bit. I'm not sold on it yet. Like, well, I mean, I played with it a little bit. It looked fine, but you know, it's. I'm not like What I do is what I like as far as filmmaking is not benefited by that kind of technology. Let's put it that way. Like there was a long. So if you guys saw this one called, I forget the name of it, but there's new AI software they were pushing. It's got basically the ability to replace any human actor with like a 3D model that mocaps all their movement and all that stuff. And somebody on Twitter was saying, rest in peace, all the video editors out there. This program's taking over. And then people were coming back like, bitch, that's not what video editing is. Video editing is not visual effects. Video editing is something different. Like in 20 years of doing visual editing or doing video editing, I've never had to replace an actor with a CGI model. That's not something we do, you know? So yeah, the Nerf stuff or any of that photogrammetry, I shoot more live action kind of a thing. Do you believe in any of the Hollywood conspiracy theories? I probably believe in certain things that most people don't believe in. Let's put it that way. Like, I don't believe CGI is the devil. That automatically makes me the minority on the internet. I just wonder what In Memoriam will be like at this year's Oscar. I don't know. True film, you love the fertility idol from the Lost on Top of the Bottle? Yep. So that's my way of looking at it. Take it off. Okay. I was going to try to sell them, but I never got around to doing it. I missed a comment. You said that it was mad that Psycho did not win Best Picture and he wasn't nominated, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, it's not going to get nominated because it's a horror film. Oh, yeah, Shakespeare in Love, it's kind of a comedy. But the other part of Shakespeare in Love, it has a couple things going for it. First of all, it's self-referential because it's about theater. So Oscar loves anything that's about themselves. So every movie that's about, theater or journalism or anything that congratulates themselves, that usually wins an Oscar. And I'm just being facetious, right? But like that one movie that won was about the scandal with the Catholic Church. It's like that no one saw, no one will remember, but that won the Oscar just because it's about them basically. Would I be willing to come to Germany and set up and for most project together? Yes, but petrosexual does sound a little bit disturbing. What exactly do you want me to come over there for? What kind of project are we talking about here? Petrosexual? Yeah, so is that I don't know what kind of proposition that is. Razzies are the best part of the Oscars, dude. Don't ever knock the Razzies. The traditional is apple pie. Razzies I think are full of themselves. Yeah. Kubrick was nominated for worst director as a Razzie. Yep. True Film says Roadhouse is absolutely take no prisoners. Cool. I know, that's the thing. Like Roadhouse is like, whoa, how dare they make a movie like that? That common for the common people. That deserves a Razzie. That's basically what the Razzies are. They're just gatekeeping, like sophisticated, proper cinematic technique. Oh, he did. How dare he cross the 180-degree rule? Oh my Lord. Oh, but you dare I hate to do this for you, but Gigli is hilarious. Now, it is a bad movie, but I remember I was in college when it came out. My buddy, who was his name was Adam, and the dude is the weirdest guy I know, and he's now like jet setting. I think he finally came out as gay. I don't know, but he's jet setting with his partner. Now he's putting Instagram. He's like, all these amazing hotels, and I'm just super jealous 'cause we went to the same university. But he like took the path of making money, and I took the path of whatever this is. But yeah, he was crazy, and he was an RA for the dorm in my college. I didn't live in the dorms; I lived off campus. But he would, so he did this. He had this thing where he would do these like parties for the residents in the dorms. But he'd always be like, "Oh, we're gonna start at 6:52 p.m." Because that's he got the, he's just bizarre. He would do things like that, and he would put weird times on the schedules. And so he invited everybody to do. We're gonna watch a screening of Jiggly. Jiggly, that's what we're gonna watch. So we all so he invited me, and I went over there, and it was like 20 other like college freshmen, and we put on this movie. And like after 20 minutes, people started leaving. It's like, what the fuck is this? This is horrible. But at the very end, it was just me and my friend Adam, and we're just sitting there laughing at every single line of that movie. And I gotta admit, it was one of my most cherished memories of that movie. It was so much fun watching it and just cracking up at every single line of that movie. Jiggly is definitely, like Red Letter Media best of the worst category of just awfulness. But yeah, that was just fun. Anyhow, that's my story about Jiggly. Oh, petrosexual means a car enthusiast. I thought it just meant he liked, boning gasoline. Use it as lube. Not that kind. Not that kind, brother. Chill. It means they're in love with cars. Let's see, going back here. Comedy can win. When did the producers win an Oscar? Did it win an Oscar? The producers Oscar. Oh, won Best Original Screenplay. Yeah. Didn't win Best Picture, though. I love all you guys arguing with me that, comedies can win. Here's one example in 87 years. Here's one or two examples of comedies winning. Of course they can win. Like, come on. Like, you realize, like, when I say comedies don't win Oscars, that doesn't mean all. It just means, like, they generally don't win Oscars. And I'd love you to go ahead and do the statistics. Do the math. Show that I'm wrong. Show that I'm wrong that comedies win Oscars all the time, John. Anyhow. Petrosexual sounds like a hot project. Oh, yeah. Like, it depends. How are we using this petrol for our sexual? What the hell is a petrosexual? Everyone's getting on board with that. I don't know. I'm just saying, when you go around with a title saying, "Hey, I'm a petrosexual, and hey, why don't you come do my project with me?" I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, but like, what the heck is a petrosexual? Have I ever used a Sony cinema camera like a Venice system? Look at me, dude. I host how many people are on this YouTube channel? 33. I ain't going on no Venice Sony cameras. I've never used one. I use Canon cameras. I have the Canon C70. I have the Canon C200. Those are, for me, everything I would love in a camera. I'm not shooting anything where I'm spending 7 figures on a set or something like that. If I was, then I could rent probably a Sony Venice camera, or I would have that discerning eye to sit there and pick apart the problems with those cameras, but no, not happening. All right, so let's see. I mean, yeah, comedies can perhaps win certain. Well, look, I'm not going to argue the point. Oscars don't pick comedies, generally speaking. They just don't. Count for comment. The Sting, Annie Hall, One Flew Over the... Annie Hall's not really a comedy. I mean, it's more of a romantic comedy, but it's a dramedy more. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is not a comedy. Like, no, don't fall into that trap, dude. Comedies don't win. So you listed 3 movies, and of which One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I would very, very, very tentatively, even barely call that a comedy. I don't think it's a comedy. The Sting, maybe, not really. The Artist, okay. Oops, The Artist. The Artist is really a comedy? Is it really? Is it really? Chicago's not a comedy. Chicago ain't no comedy. I mean, it's got comedy elements, but it's not a comedy. But Chicago won because first of all, it's a damn fine movie. I think also it won because it was a damn fine movie and it happened to be a musical, and they haven't given anything into a musical in a long time. So, yeah, don't fall into the trap of thinking just because it's not all doesn't mean it's not a general tendency. Because let's take a look. It's like saying Everything Everywhere All at Once is a comedy. I mean, it's got comedic elements, but it's not a comedy. Not really. Nope. Nope is a comedy. Is it? No, it's not. Do you believe Oscar results can serve commercial purposes online or purposes sometimes, like favoring a genre to make it a trend? Not sure what that means. I think can serve a commercial purposes. I mean, they always do. Oscars are all about commerce. Yeah, The Artist is a sentimental love letter to the movies. That's true. And that's, like I said, that falls in that category. Anything that's referencing the industry itself, or it's referencing something adjacent to the industry, like journalism or theater, then they will definitely go. They'll definitely be favored, except for Babylon, which sucked balls. I'm sorry. That's why it's not nominated, because it sucks. Sorry to burst your bubble. I don't know if Rigel's over here. He liked that movie. Sorry to burst your bubble, but Babylon sucked, and that's why it's not being nominated. Why RRR got nominated in Oscar, a ridiculous movie? Because it had a huge publicity surrounding it. It's unique, to a lot of American viewers are not familiar with that culture, with that style, and it felt fresh, even though the animation is reminiscent of a sci-fi movie. But there it is. There's Nay. There he is. Babylon is cool. Yeah, totally. That's why it didn't get nominated. Because if it would have gotten nominated, I would have said that's the first time that an elephant shitting movie has been. There you go. Zero in says, "Hey, Schindler's List is a comedy." You're right. I mean, if you're a certain particular part of some fringe organizations, it might be considered a comedy. But is the Oscars happening now? I think it started now, right? It's 5:00. So good. Yeah, watch it. Yeah, I'll probably put it on somewhere. I don't know. NATO, it's a bit gross, but yeah, I actually liked it. I hated Babylon with a passion of a million burning suns. When is the Oscar today? I think it's now. I think it's starting to happen now. So I don't care to watch it, but I just wonder if the stream would end when it came on. No, it's happening now. I said 9 p.m. there. Where are you? Oh, is it just the Oscar pre-show crap? Remember back in the Oscar pre-show, they had Roger Ebert like sauntering out the stage. Back when movies were a big deal. Now it's like everyone just shitting on movies, online. Like you can't imagine like the critical drinker at the red carpet like talking about movies. I was watching I was at my mom's caregiver place today, and they were watching food TV, and I was watching like Beat Bobby Flay. You know that show? So basically it's like Iron Chef, but it's always Bobby Flay. And what they'll do is they'll bring on two chefs, and then the two chefs will compete against each other. And then once they're tired of cooking, they'll say, okay, round 2, the winner of this competition now has to defeat me in my own choice of product and all that stuff. And so then they compete against Bobby Flay, and they generally lose, right? They generally always lose. But what they do is they bring in celebrity like guest judges for the first part. And the first one I watched was one of the guys from SNL, The Weekend Update. And then the next one was Anna Gasteyer. And I was talking to my friend of mine earlier this week, I was talking about Anna Gasteyer, like, oh, whatever happened to Anna Gasteyer? Right? If you don't know her, she's the one that played like Martha Stewart character. She was the one that played the woman on the NPR radio, the sweaty balls sketch and all that stuff. Anna Gasteyer, right? It's like I hadn't seen her in forever. I wanted to see how she looked and how she aged a little bit, but she looks great. Actually looks really, really, looks to me finer now than she did back when she was on the show. And then I was ready to leave, and then they had Drew Barrymore. And I was just thinking, like, how do you get on a show like that? And they obviously get paid, right? But they got an agent that, tries to shop. Hey, they want you to host this one, Bobby Flay competition show. You would do it for, like $5,000. I'd do that for $5,000. Of course, I have nothing better to do. But, like what does Anna Gasteyer have going on that she won't do this show, eat some cool food and get paid for, a day's worth of work? It's nothing. Right. So anyhow, I was just curious about that. I was thinking about that myself. Like, how do you go about getting on these shows, and or the shows themselves, how do they go about reaching celebrities to try to be on these shows? It's just interesting stuff. Stuff to think about. All right. Let's see. What else are you saying? The only thing interests me about the Oscars day is the internet collective hype for Puss in Boots, if it can win, and the outrage if it'll lose. I need to watch that movie, dang it. That sounds like a good movie now. I've been saying everything about Puss in Boots. I better watch the damn movie. If these people voted for Oscars, we would only get blockbusters being nominated, films that these people see as the films that people actually enjoy. This mentality against art house in India is sad. I think the problem is, I feel like the divide between art house and mainstream has gotten a little too heavy. It used to be that mainstream movies could be more artsy. Like you could have a Taxi Driver, which would have been more supported mainstream movies rather than being strictly relegated to the world of art house. Like back in the day, Taxi Driver was playing in your theater. It wouldn't have been strictly you had to go find an art house theater to see it. Obviously the technology has changed considerably so that art house movies can be produced for a far less production budget. So you can make a, crazy off the wall art house movie. Well, something like Everything Everywhere All at Once is a mainstream art house movie, essentially a $14 million mainstream art house movie. But I would argue that movie is much more mainstream than some of the more bizarre art house stuff that's out there. I think the problem more is that movies that are more mainstream have become so. I guess maybe it's the problem of being corporatized garbage, basically churned out, manufactured, just stuff. I don't know. Anyhow, that's what I'm saying. No Japanese animation pretty much is a worthless to me in American animation category. That there's no Japanese animation. Yeah. Remember the Oscars are American. It's an American awards for American movies, so you're not going to see a lot of international stuff. Just the way it is. Maybe she has a bland palate and wouldn't want to be subjugated to the type of food on these types of chef shows. I don't know who you're talking about. It was interesting. The chef show. Look, I'd go on those things, so why not? It's going to be somewhat decent, right? These are not they don't. The chef shows, they don't necessarily pick like a homeless guy off the street to make the food. It's usually some sort of like chef from some restaurant, and then Bobby Flay usually wins because Bobby Flay's a dick, and no one likes Bobby Flay. Anyhow, so. I don't see why people would necessarily go away from these shows if you had time to do it. If you think about it, because I'm also son of an Anglophile and I watch a lot of British stuff. And the British stuff, there's a group of people they just appear on panel shows. It's just like a club almost, I think. Like if you're part of the Oxford Footlights Society, that you appear on all these other TV shows like Mitchell and Webb. What's the Mitchell's name? But he's on all these different shows. He hosts a couple shows, and they just bring him in for this and that, and then just goes around collecting his paychecks from all these shows. Yeah. I meant Japanese animation is the most top tier today, seeing no nomination. Well, there's literally rules why. Again, Oscars is an American. It's an American movie production award. So in order to qualify for an Oscar, you'd have to put your movie in an American distribution system. So like Japanese animation doesn't have any American distribution in a movie theater, and I don't think so. Like I don't think a lot of Japanese animation gets in that direction. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised for any of that stuff to see it in a. I wouldn't expect to see any Japanese animation. Do you know about the people who demand their money back simply because they hated The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick? Jesus Christ, the entitlement. I mean, there's people that want their money back for Avatar too. The editing of Elvis Shirley, well, anything Baz Luhrmann edits it's just so much editing. With the exception of less talked about awards, sound effects, lighting, etc., Oscar nomination is simply has become probably a don't want to watch personal taste. Yeah. Can you quickly point out your biggest gripe with Bob Babylon? Quickly point out it is a false narrative. Like Babylon, it's like it's deceitful and untrue to the core. Like there's nothing about Babylon. Babylon is basically fabricating a lie and pretending that is insightful and deep, and that's the problem with Babylon. Like there's literally it literally has no conceptual understanding of how early film worked, no conceptual understanding of the love of film, and at the very end it tries to apologize with a extremely like manipulative and pathetic attempt to try to convince you that what you saw was meaningful. Is that quick enough gripe about Babylon? I mean, look, if you liked it, you bought into the bullshit. I'm sorry to tell you that. I mean, look, it's an opinion. You can have that opinion. I'm not going to make you feel worse, right? But it's like saying, to me, it's like saying, I love this thing because it's so beautiful. It's like, dude, it's it's like saying, I love the Emperor's new clothes. Those are some amazing clothes he just got. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, the guy's naked. I can see his dick. All right. Elvis is proof that Tom Hanks can't always save a movie. Tom Hanks is trying his hardest. Studio Ghibli used to have one spot. Not that I'm a big fan of that studio. Yep. How Ezra Miller is still working in Hollywood after his antics with a teen girl. I mean, did you answer your own question there? I mean, come on. Hollywood? With the antics of the teen girl? Am I saying? Nato says, actually, I agree with you, but it doesn't bother me because the film is not even trying a bit to make any sense in reality. I think it's also a style. Yeah, but for me, when I judge a style like that, to me, it just rings so hollow. Like it's like if you're saying it's a style to be so overtly not founded on any sort of reality, but then it's like at the very end, it's like trying to have its cake and eat it too, kind of thing. Like I just find the whole movie a complete disastrous miscalculation, and just hollow and it's like a complete lie, totally untrue. The word I'm looking for is insincere. Totally insincere movie, and a lot of noise that's just crap. Babylon is very bad. People linked to Hollywood doesn't mean all. No, I'm not saying all people. I'm saying none of that works. I'm saying none of that at all works. Go back to the scene that's been heralded, the scene with the Margot Robbie in the microphone scene. Like how can there be two truths that the microphone needs to be in a certain spot in order to pick up her voice, and yet the microphone could pick up the sound of a pin on a shoe far from a director far away. Like, how can you have both? It just defeats. It's so. Here's an example. So I'll tell you the story. So I had my friend Thurman here, and I videotaped him to do a demo for my class, and I wanted to do a demo on becoming an extra background actor. So he gave a little talk on it, right? And so part of it was I wanted to use his clip from. He was on the show Two Broke Girls, right? And he was playing a minister who's going to be performing a wedding. And on the show Two Broke Girls, they have this idea of so the bride to be is having second doubts and she's scared. So, but the show must go on, right? So they send one of the two broke girls, Whitney, whatever her name is, the brunette girl. They send her down the aisle during the wedding, but with a veil so nobody can tell who she is. It's like, did you think through this idea? Did you consider this plan of action to any degree? If you send the wrong girl down the aisle, did you think you're going to fool anybody? Like, did you not think this through? And they get down the aisle, and then he finally lifts you're not my soon-to-be wife. Oh, my Lord. And she's like, eh. And then the real wife comes down like, I'm ready. It's like, did you not think this through? Like, it's not funny because it's like, it's such a phony premise. It's just stupid, phony premise. And my poor friend Thurman, he's the priest, and he's like, I have to be in this show. I make fun of him. He got paid. I'm off. I'm just rubbing it in. I mean, I would have taken that job, sure. But did you not think this thing through? That's the way I felt about Babylon. Did you not think of this thing through? Did you not think this movie? Just not think of it all through. Anyhow, it's a terrible movie. Terrible. Babylon movie. The technical details are all BS, of course. So why have technical details in a movie if it's all BS? Like, I don't know. Like, do you guys enjoy watching movies that are just insulting to your intelligence? Maybe is that the style you're going for? This movies that are just flat out insultingly stupid. Maybe that's what, if I just watch Babylon through the lens of, look, none of this makes any sense. These people are stupid as hell. And whatever pretense this has about Hollywood, it's all bullshit. Everything's just bullshit in this movie. It's just stupid. That the way I'm supposed to watch that movie? Anyhow, we're having fun. Don't take this as like I'm being mean. This is just, you're riling me up so I can be entertaining on camera. What is the comedy I put on there? I don't even remember. Account for Comedy. No, but it also Ed Wood. Ed Wood, another comedy, right? Comedy. I don't know if it won an Oscar. True Film says the Avatar, the problem with 3D is, among others, your eyes focusing according to the depth information. You extract the dimensions of that from the information. None of that works in 3D movie. Is that what the one guy was writing? Somebody linked me that, I think it was Nerd Writer was talking about why 3D doesn't work because your brain isn't, you need to your focus is on the depth information or something like that. Perhaps. Movies insulting to intelligence. That's not too long. That's too long of a list. The Screen Rant channel proves it. Yeah, it's to be insulting to the intelligence and then perceived as something not. So like Moonfall, right? Moonfall is incredibly insulting to the intelligence. It's the best term I've heard was radioactively dumb. Like, that movie is so dumb. But it's not pretending to be smart. It's not pretending to be deep. It's not pretending to be, a treatise on the corruption of Hollywood. It's a dumb, stupid action movie. That's all it is. Roadhouse is a dumb, campy movie. It's not pretending to be high art. That's the thing. Oh, Pinocchio just won Best Animated. Good for it. Good for Pinocchio. Although I guess sad for Puss in Boots. I don't know. I should probably do. Let's see. Can we actually see that stuff? An Oscar list. Well, I'm gonna get going pretty soon because I just want to. I'm gonna go make dinner. So I haven't made dinner in a while. I've relied on eating. But yeah, first Oscar goes to Pinocchio. Good for Pinocchio. Good for that. I appreciate the fact that in a year where Disney's Pinocchio came out and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio came out, that hey, Disney, your Pinocchio sucked balls. Your Pinocchio was so bad that we're going to give the Oscar just maybe symbolically to any other Pinocchio. There you go. That's how you should read this Oscar. We're just going to give it to any other Pinocchio on the planet. Screw you, Disney, and your Pinocchio, your shitty Pinocchio that you made with Tom Hanks, of all things. So, there you go. That was the first stop animation, motion animation. Cool. And it's a comedy. Totally. It's a comedy about the Italian fascists. It's not the first Italian comedy. Remember that movie, Beautiful Life is Beautiful? That was a comedy about Italian fascists. Is Alec Baldwin going to jail? Nope, because he's got lawyers and money, and you don't. So don't try to pull it off. There you go. Hope Guillermo del Toro makes the same speech about animation being cinema as he did in the Golden Globes. Well, sure. I was watching Corridor Digital, and they had the guys that did the twins that they had. The twins that did the animation for. They had animators react to their anime thing, and they had the I forget the name of the I never remember the names of the brothers, but the animator worked on Pocahontas, and he worked on Aladdin. His first big thing was animating Iago. Iago getting the cracker like shoved into his mouth kind of thing, and he had a very my favorite part of the discussion was asking him, so what does a director do in an animated movie versus a director doing a live animation movie? And one of the funny things he said was, well, there's a lot less of this. Like if you look at behind the scenes pictures from movies, the director's always going like. The director's always pointing in a anime movie, but in a live action movie. But in an anime movie, a director basically sits down with all the animators individually. You're assigned a scene. Like, okay, you animator, I want you to draw Iago getting a cracker put in his mouth, and you need to hit this beat, this beat, this beat. And he was saying that basically the animators themselves, then they take that scene, they go off and they do the work on it, and they come back and the director will kind of discuss with them. So the idea is that the animators themselves are doing very detailed work. They're on the ground. They're drawing just Iago getting this movement and how he's responding to the movement, right? And so the director's got a big picture. The director is looking at the big picture. He's saying, okay, well, I like what you did, this gag here on this character, but let's save that for another shot because he's going to do something similar in another shot. So that's what the director's job is, the big picture direction of the animated movie, and the animators themselves are essentially the actors because they're puppeteering all the different shots. It was a fascinating discussion with those guys. I used to not particularly like the Corridor Crew because I think they're geared more younger than I am. I think their stuff is more geared like I'm an old man, I'm very old. I like my comedies, I like my dramas, and I like the stuff. So I'm not so keen on just visual special effects. But stuff like that, I really appreciated watching that little video. Don't give Disney ideas. We need a live action remake of Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, probably not a good idea. That guy had so much love. Which guy? I gotta know. 3D movies. When others tell you where to focus, next they'll tell you where to think, and oh, they already do. 3D's old tech. Let's watch the news. Yeah, keep both like. Uh, you, people that don't look at history, like film history, media history is something that is never taught. You only get it on YouTube, and hopefully you get it more from people like me that kind of know what they're talking about, rather than just the weird people out there that just like think they know what they're talking about. But it's like, look at history. How many times does 3D need to happen? How many different waves of 3D do we need to get before you realize it's not really why we go to the movies, is it? Like it's not all technology. If the picture fails, the director usually gets the blame. Well, not always. I mean, generally, yeah, the people at top always get the blame, but producers will get, the old term is heads roll, right? Like if a movie fails, the executives also get axed pretty quickly, because they're the ones that greenlit it. They're the ones that oversee it. They're the ones that are supposed to keep the director under control. 3D directors are higher than 2D directors. It's just categorically true. Oh, the Life of Beautiful guy. Oh yeah, Life of Beautiful guy is fun. He was a gas. What's his name? I forget. The Italian guy. You love everybody. I love you all. And just run around kissing everybody's head. Don't you wish nowadays he couldn't do that because it's sexual harassment? So have you been to Rogan's new club yet? No, I don't live in Austin. So, I mean, I used to like comedy clubs. Comedy clubs are a lot of fun, but, I don't live, there was one in the Pachanga casino that I lived nearby, but they closed it. I mean, they closed it long before COVID. I don't think it was doing too well, but the comedy clubs are fun. Like if you haven't been to a comedy club, it's a lot of fun. If you just let go of your inhibitions at a comedy club, just go and watch somebody make jokes and just enjoy yourself. It's laughter is a dopamine hit. It's like literally going and just shooting up dopamine with everybody else in the room. It's awesome. There he goes, Roberto Benigni. I love Roberto Benigni. What has he been doing lately? I'm speaking like a Mario, which is probably very, 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 very bad. No, not good. Can't do that. Yeah, Life is Beautiful is just like one of the 100 of. Life and Beauty. It's not. Life is Beautiful is not a Holocaust film like so many others, and that doesn't portray. Obviously, there's some horrific elements of the Holocaust in the movie, but it was not about that. I mean, it was about it, but it was not. It's not like a, oh dear God. It's not Schindler's List. Let's put it that way. What's a bit weird is how directing an Oscar show can get you a nomination for an Emmy. Well, that's not weird. Remember, Oscars are movies, Emmys are television, Grammys are music, Tonys are Broadway shows, right? So you can't win a Tony for a movie. You can't win an Emmy for a movie. You can't win an Oscar for a TV show. There we go. I need a BNCR lens. Nobody has one and no way to adapt any other lens to Mitchell Mark II camera. Gosh darn it. Get this man a BNCR lens. What is wrong with America? If this person, I can't assume their gender, if they do not have a BNCR lens, for God's sakes, people, we need to stop this stream so we can get this man a BNCR lens. Indignation of why he deserves one. Like it's his right as a person on this earth to have a BNCR lens. God's sakes, people, get with the program. All right. The lady that made Cocaine Bear probably taking some powder. So what happened to her? I mean, it just Elizabeth Banks was the director. Like it felt like she was on a tirade about something. And the movie just kind of there's a lot of buzz about it earlier, but then it's like, it just wasn't very good. I don't know. Whatever. They always knock off 2 points for any movie on a 10-point scale if it has reference to the Holocaust. They don't knock it off. They usually add them. You're joking, but Benigni's wife is the real director? Oh, I didn't know that. I don't know anything about Benigni. I know I liked his performance in the Oscars. I think the Cocaine Bear came out the same black hole as the Sharknado series. Well, no. Sharknado came from Asylum. Like, Sharknado is this famous Asylum project. But Cocaine Bear, I think, was a bigger studio project. Anyhow. Going back to older comments to see here. So my thoughts about cooking dinner tonight. I'm thinking, because I was thinking about a steak, but the steaks are all frozen, and it's too late to probably defrost it. So I was thinking doing a meatloaf. Like actually preparing a meatloaf. Because I haven't, like last night I ate Del Taco, which is it's okay. It's all right. Whatever. But it's like $13. I can make a meatloaf. It would probably do 2 servings for like $7 easily. And I got mashed potatoes already, so I just got to cook some Brussels sprouts I have in the house. I know. You guys tune in for... I want to see Tar, by the way. I do want to see Tar. I haven't seen that. Like, I had this idea for a movie about a schizophrenic like orchestra director that, you know, there's so much you can do with like amazing, not orchestra music, but he's like a film composer and he's a director for film composers. And like, as he's directing, like he's seeing shit and the orchestra pit's like tearing apart and dun 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 dun, you know, he's just like freaking out. And then he thinks, my idea was the orchestra director is like, he's got the mind that the CIA is telling him to like implant his movie scores with messages, you know, to tell people about, you know, the aliens or something like that, whatever it is. That was my premise for an idea. I didn't really have an idea, just a premise, right? Because I like the idea of an orchestra like from hell, like he's just directing this thing. I think there's a lot to value, but the Tar looked kind of similar vein of that, so I'm kind of curious about that. Now I gotta go see Tar. So, anyhow, that's giving enough time for you guys to fill up my chat bot barrel. All right, let's see. Go to your comments. Best supporting actor. Did he win it? Ki Kwan? Yeah, baby. Everything, everywhere, all at once is going to win everything. Because it should. So my man Ki Kwan. Yeah, baby, cool. My man, Short Round is gonna got his Oscar. What a crazy story. That makes me feel good. I can just don't tell me the rest of them. I'm just be happy sitting here with that realization that he won. That's all that matters, right? All right. So good for him. Although he's already gotten like all the other awards at the other award shows. So just add that to the stack there, buddy. Oh, how you doing, Meryl? How you seen? I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to the live streams here. Let's see. Ray Liotta. That's going to be in memorandum. I could defrost a steak on your car engine. Didn't you ever watch Mythbusters? And I saw online that you can I can do my laundry and then throw the steak in with the dryer. That would do it. See, I purposely got the vacuum sealer thing, so that my steak is in a vacuum seal, so I can just throw that in the laundry. And that should defrost it. It might actually cook it too. So make it cook laundry machine, my drying machine, steak. That would be amazing, right? Aren't you guys just salivating the idea of eating steak that's been cooked in a drying machine? That's just got to be awesome, right? All right. Well, I'm good. I'm just happy to see my friend there, Ki Kwan. Coming up next, the world premiere of a brand new Little Mermaid trailer, says the Academy Awards. Moment of silence for the Oscars. Just jumped the shark. The Oscar Twitter My God, I got to show you this. I got Twitter here. Here we go. Coming up next, the world premiere of a brand new The Little Mermaid trailer. Now, yeah, it is what it is. Sure, Disney paid a lot of money for that ad there. All right, whatever. Uh, let's see. Jimmy. Oh, who's hosting this time around? Jimmy Fallon. I don't know who's hosting. Who the heck is even hosting the Oscars? Jimmy Kimmel. Let's see. Hitchcock released Dial M for Murder and Rear Window in 1954. Coppola released Conversation with Godfather Part 2 in 1974. Spielberg released Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in 1993. Isn't that crazy? Both Jurassic Park and Schindler's List came out in the same movie or year. What are your preferences for these three directors' years? Hitchcock, Coppola, or Spielberg? Spielberg first, Hitchcock, then Coppola. Because I'm not that big of a fan of The Godfather. I'm just not. Tar and Woman Talking are for feminist spot. Top Gun, Avatar, Blockbuster, Elvis, Fableman for industry-related spots, and Everything Everywhere All at Once for the Asians. But I want to see Tar. I want to see Tar. I'm not interested in Women Talking, but Tar looks interesting. I'm so funny. I hope I'm being funny. This is not just a show. James Webb distortion, etc., yadder. Right. That's exactly. James, filmmaker, thaw the steak. If it's sealed, put it in cold water in a sink for 30 minutes. But it's a thick steak. It's like this thick. It's like an inch and a half. It looks good. But I've been meaning to make that meatloaf for a long time, and I've got a pound of hamburger in my fridge that's been sitting there for like at least a week and a half or two. I'm sure it's fine. It's been packaged, but I'm sure it's fine. But I need to do something with that freaking hamburger. So I was thinking meatloaf. All right, I'm done. Don't get it wrong. I'm thinking meatloaf. You should see how short the acceptance speech for Godfather Part 2 winning Best Picture, 30 seconds in total. You know what's the best? The acceptance speech of from the Goodfellas, from the actor. The guy, the little guy. But he gets up there, it's like, thank you. He leaves. Best acceptance speech ever. Best acceptance speech. Let's see what else we got to say here. Also, a good topic, although expressionist thing is officially acknowledged at this point. I don't think I missed something in that little discussion there. See you later, Cristoforo. Have a good night. Take care. Oh, yeah. I think Oscars jumped the shark when they made the nomination list of 10 spots because Dark Knight did not make the list. Yeah, it also feels like it's pandering because everything else is 5. And all of a sudden 10 winners, and you're like, oh, that's a lot of movies, dude. I gotta watch a bunch of these movies. Oh yeah, go work on your podcast intro. See you later, petrosexual. Love the petros. All right, we'll need a fishing net to gather all the Little Mermaids revisions soon. I want to see Guillermo del Toro's Little Mermaid. Would you not want to watch Guillermo del Toro's Little Mermaid? Tell me. Like, that would be the movie to watch. I'm down. Jamie Lee Curtis wins for Best Supporting Actress. Huh, what movie was that from? Oh, yeah. Everything. Everywhere. It's starting. It's winning everything. Yep. Yeah, she was good in that movie. Like, when I first saw her in that movie, I thought, who the hell is this lady? Like, she reminded me of that one lady from Fox that did the Simpsons, Tracy Ullman. She reminded me of Tracy Ullman because Tracy Ullman plays a very similar character in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like this like ugly, kind of like let it all hang out, kind of a ugly, slobbish kind of a woman character, and I thought it was like really amazing. But I didn't realize it was Jamie Lee Curtis, and I didn't realize that Ke Huy Quan was Short Round when I first saw it. Like I didn't know. I was like, oh, where did they get this guy? His voice is so iconic, like high pitched. Like, he's like, in another universe, I would be happy just doing laundry and taxes with you. Right? He spoke Chinese during that saying I can't speak Chinese. So Joe Pesci won the Oscar, and he just like thank you, and he just booked it. But that was about the best Oscar speech of all time. Speaking of Oscar speeches, so I do Student of the Month programs, right? So I do 4 of them a month. So it's like the Oscars, but for students. But the Student of the Month programs that I do are not school functions. They are a function of the Chamber of Commerce or some sort of usually business organization. They work in relationship with the school districts, but they're not in the school district, right? So I've become sort of an expert as far as like how to give a acceptance speech and that kind of stuff. So generally speaking, you definitely do want keep your speech very short. Short in your mind is actually quite a decent length of time. People will think you have 30 seconds. They say principals, you have 30 seconds to talk about your students. Principals have been known to go on for 8 minutes talking about their students. 30 seconds, all right, not even close. So when you give an acceptance speech, I think the classiest thing to do on an acceptance speech is if you're winning an award like the Oscars. I'm gonna coach. Here we go. I'm gonna coach you. If you win an Oscars speech, here's what you should do. Don't thank all the people you're supposed to thank because no one cares. Instead, get up there. And don't get political. Don't say shit like that. Man, no one. Don't offend half the audience, or don't make half the audience like not like you. Say tell us about how like hard work you were like thinking about. I was a kid and I dreamt about being here, and I just want you all to know that you guys, with the hard work and the talented people that we have in this room, all the amazing people that come in day and make these dreams possible and make wonderful movies that entertain us, that give us inspiration, that bring us a little bit of hope in our otherwise can be sometimes feel lonely and sometimes distant part. That this is what we do together. How wonderful, how amazingly fortunate that we are to be able to do this in this industry and make these amazing products for all of you. Thank you so much for this recognition. I will thank all the people that deserve it in private, but I just want to thank you guys all. It's been a wonderful day. Good night, everybody, and thank you so much. And then walk off. That's it. That's how you give it don't thank Jimmy the wardrobe. No one cares. No one cares about Jimmy the wardrobe. No one cares about Alfredo the makeup artist. Make it something that the audience will actually get, and then that's how you become, your stock will go up. Some of the Oscar winners could benefit from a Toastmasters meeting. Yeah, it's not. Don't make it about you. That's the other thing. Like don't make it about you. Make it about everyone else. Spread your, obviously you're probably feeling like you're probably over the moon, right? But don't make it about you. Spread that joy to everyone else. If you spread that, then everyone else will think, hey, this is great. I'm so happy for this guy. And then everybody gets better. It's just everything better. Jimmy the Wardrobe? Yeah, Jimmy the Wardrobe. He's a good guy, though. Don't get me wrong. Jimmy the Wardrobe Jimmy has had some bad times. And you know what he did? He did kind of, come on to me. But, I get it. I totally get it. It's cool. I don't float that way, but, Jimmy's Jimmy. But he's generally a good guy. He's never really harmed a fly, right? So Jimmy the Wardrobe guy is good. He's a good dude. Don't take down Jimmy. But does he need to be mentioned in an Oscar speech? No, he does not. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. While you're talking about speeches, don't forget how the Academy winners have to go backstage for a 5-minute apiece press conference. If you get the gold, You talk to the press. That's true. Jimmy the Wardrobe, he shirred himself. See, Jimmy would like that joke. Jimmy's totally down for that. He's totally clowning about, he talks about all his shirts. Wait, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom was inside. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. So Tony Curtis is her father, and Janet Leigh is her mom. Right, is her mom. Yeah, I got the pronouns right there. So that's So she's of that stock. And Tony Curtis is that's an actor I haven't thought about. I was just thinking about Sweet Smell of Success and how amazing Tony Curtis is in that movie. So freaking good. See, Meryl's voting for Meatloaf, so I think I'm gonna follow your advice there, Meryl. Meatloaf it is. Meatloaf it is tonight. All right. The Academy also gives special prizes to Oscar winners who give the shortest speech. In case you weren't aware, it's called a combo of cash and I think it's a combo of cash and goodies. Are you pulling my leg? Because that'd be awesome. Hitchcock's acceptance speech when receiving Lifetime Award as Oscar Gold. He literally just said, "Thank you very much," and walked away with the award. Sounds about right. What would Jimmy the Wardrobe does in Narnia your business? Nice, Nay. That deserves an Oscar right there. Definitely. Who's your favorite female director? Mine is Lena Wertmuller and Liana Cavani. My favorite right now is Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig's my favorite. I love her stuff. I like her stuff, especially when she collaborates with husband Noah Baumbach, because they work really well together, really, really well. So I'm looking forward to that Barbie movie. Barbie movie. So the Academy does offer goodies to the shortest speech. It's been done since the mid '80s to encourage time. The clock is always ticking in the direct. That's interesting. I did not know that. Well, I wonder who's going to win this year. So Hitchcock could have gotten more money. All right, let's see here. Oh, that's cool. It's a cool little photo from on Twitter here. Cut to that. So we got Pinocchio made an appearance at the Oscars. I don't know who he's wearing, but he's wearing something there. There's Jamie Lee Curtis. All right. Well, geez, guys. I mean, it's like I feel like I got to hang out here and chat some Oscar stuff while we're waiting for the results and make it actually entertaining to watch. What are comments here? I'm talking about Greta Gerwig. So she's directed. Well, she won the Oscar for Lady Bird. She's made the one I would recommend. She's been in and out of movies, like as a actress, and director. She did a movie called Miss. I don't say it. Well, let's look at her. Look her up. Why not? I got the Greta Gerwig. I've got the internet. Let's just look up what she's done. So, Little Women she made in 2019. Frances Ha is one of my favorite movies, but that's Noah Baumbach directing. But she's been kind of, she's from the mumblecore a little bit, but she's a little bit more polished than strictly mumblecore. Recently, she was in White Noise. Well, if we look at a director, she's made Little Women, Lady Bird, and Nights and Weekends, which was probably a smaller indie film. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Greta Gerwig. Yeah, let's be honest. I would love to have a wife that could actually make movies with me. That'd be fun. Activia ads. There you go. Those are Clios. Clios are for ads. So if you want to win an award for your movie or advertising, it's Clio. Jimmy Wardrobe does have hanger management issues. Yes, very well done. Masterfully done, sir. Masterfully done. One door closes, another one opens. Jimmy Wardrobe. Jimmy the Wardrobe guy is, he's well known around town. think everybody knows Jimmy the Wardrobe Dude. It's going to be our thing, right? A Fish Called Wanda. Is that another comedy movie that won an Oscar? Did that win an Oscar? A Fish. Because I would have called that a comedy. Called Wanda. There we are. Did it win an award or not? I don't know. Go to Wikipedia. Oh. At a box office, $188.6 million. It was made for $7 million. Not bad. But that was back in the day where you could actually do that stuff. So Academy Awards, it won Best Supporting Actor, but not picture. No, it wasn't even nominated for pictures. All right. Jimmy Wardrobe really needs to button his lip. He really sucks. Well done, folks. Yeah, Meryl, I made mashed potatoes last week with the intention that I was going to make meatloaf, but I got so busy that I never made the meatloaf. So I've got mashed potatoes in my fridge. It's been sitting there. So hopefully they haven't gone bad. I've just been waiting to make the meatloaf. I just want that. Jimmy Wardrobe wants in your drawers. So Jimmy Wardrobe is now going to be a character on this show. You guys all know that, right? He's firmly cemented his position in the in filmmaker IQ's lore. The Jimmy the Wardrobe guy needs to be involved. Hey, Helium Road, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Although I'm probably going to be taking off pretty soon, so I'm not going to miss the rest of the Oscar. You guys can stream it with some of the other folks, but I got to go make dinner. Like I remember back in the day, way back in the day, I used to be a big bowler. Right, I used to bowl a lot. My best game of all time was 299 pins in a single game, and it really ticked me off. But I'm one of those guys that I'm not a good performer. Like I can perform, I can edit myself. As you can tell by these live streams, I'm not very good off the cuff. I'm just terrible at it. But I can go back and edit myself. So when I try to do a video and I try to talk off the cuff, I get pissed off at myself. But anyhow, I can never bowl a 300 game. It's just not in me. I can get 299. I can get so damn close. It's just, but I'll never be able to bowl a 300 game. I just know that about myself. Anyhow, I used to go bowling. Sunday night bowling was always my thing. Sunday nights, because the bowling alley used to have these deal for like $10. You could bowl all night long on Sunday night from 9 o'clock to midnight. So I used to always go bowling on Sunday nights. And Oscars are always the annoying thing, because you would get there like right when the Oscars would get over. And so you'd always pick up to the very ending of the Oscars when I was bowling on Sunday nights. My phone's going off crazy. Yep, Jimmy Wardrobe can bowl a perfect game. He knows his pins. My God. What about Johnny Props? Johnny Props is a bit of an asshole, though. I mean, don't we all kind of know that, right? I mean, he's just something about him. Johnny Props he's always talking about his props. I don't know. I can't make a pun out of that. It's not as much fun. Johnny Wardrobe jokes are hanging by a thread. That's true. It's very much true. Oh my God. Johnny Wardrobe deserves a shout out, Oscar shout out. Poor guy's lost his sense. I'm seriously now going to get Johnny Wardrobe in the freaking everything I do from now on is going to be Johnny Wardrobe. He's going to get involved somehow with it. Who's next on the Oscar thing list here? We're going to get best short film or something like that. So Oscar goes to Navalny for documentary feature film. There you go. Daniel Rower, Odessa Ray, Diana Becker, Melanie Miller, and Shane Boris. So that's cool. Oh, Puss in Boots they did a little video of the Guillermo del Toro kicking on the stage here. That's cool. Oh, is it Jimmy Fallon I don't know who's running the thing. Like an old man. I don't know what's going on. So, all right. Well, you need to really dress Jimmy Wardrobe. With the irreverence of the Oscars, what or how awards do you see going to be able to replace the importance of the public consciousness? I don't think. Yeah, it's a great question, because I don't know if if awards will ever become as important as they used to be, right? Because nowadays we all the very fact that I'm sitting here talking to all of you, on my stream, I'm in my little podunk stream, doesn't just this is the modern economy, right? This is the modern ecosystem of discussions. You no longer have a monolithic thing of like, oh, these are the awards are, we all turn to the Oscars to get our marching orders for what movies were considered the best of the year. Nowadays, we all, we literally have shows like what I'm doing here. You've got all the other YouTube hosts that have thousands more viewers than me. They're all, every week getting together talking about what movies and shows they like or dislike or what. So I don't see the future. I think the award shows is sort of a relic of the past, a relic of the idea that once there were three, TV stations. So I mean, as Cancer is saying, the Oscar used to have dignity. YouTube can easily provide that. Cary Grant, so forth. Yeah, all the Audrey Hepburn, Jimmy Stewart, Kirk Douglas. Sure, it's nostalgic, but it also feel important for some reason. Yeah, nowadays we're now Cary Grant and Aubrey Hepburn would be on Twitter, yelling at Elon Musk for something, or Jimmy Stewart when Kirk Douglas would be on Twitter just spouting off a political opinion that you don't necessarily agree with, right? That kind of thing. So, I think that's the way it is. I think we won't have that. I mean, awards always matter. They always do. As much as you want to bitch and complain, you're not going to turn down an Oscar. I wouldn't. No one would. But in the grand scheme of things, is it really that important as much as it was? I don't think so. Irish Goodbye won Best Live Action Short. Good. There you go. Irish Goodbye. Tom Berkeley and Ross White. Good for them. A lot of great films in the 70s are preserved due to the Oscars. Yeah. Marlon Brando's. Remember Marlon Brando's acceptance speech when he had that lady come up that wasn't a Native American. That she was like, she was like a Mexican. She was pretending to be a Native American. She got up there and like delivered a speech about like how the peoples are being oppressed and that kind of thing. Good evening, Bullet Silence. How you doing? The thing about the Oscar, though, is you can't sell the thing. It's just good for the mantle or conversation. It's like winning the lottery and taking the annual sum. No $100 million for you. Well, the Oscars are prestige. It's about clout. This is a big moment, guys. You all just set a life goal. Is that winning an Oscar? Ooh, Sunday night is Chinese food, the Jews of New Jersey, and of course the Oscars with the family. There you go. Chinese food Chinese food does sound good though, but I think meatloaf is going to be, because I gotta use that hamburger. And that's what Jimmy the wardrobe guy told me to do. I gotta use the hamburger. He's like, dude, you gotta like quit going out and eat. You're trying to save some money here. Like California prices are expensive, so you gotta try to save some money. And part of that is just eat stuff you cook at home. Sure, it takes you like, I'm a decent cook. It might take me like 30, 45 minutes, but I can just chill and listen to the rest of the Oscars, and be jealous of the fact that I'm not going to win one. They don't give stuff for YouTubers like we're a bunch of potatoes. Anyhow, it's almost 6 o'clock, so I'll probably call it about 6 o'clock. All right, guys. Well, go watch the rest of the Oscars, I guess. Oh, here's another one. Here's Ki Han Kwan's acceptance speech. That's cool. Hey, shot at Spielberg, looking all proud. Oh yeah, because he was in Indiana Jones. That's right, makes sense. That's why they would show Spielberg. Let's hear what Ki Han Kwa says. Let's see. How can you hear this? I'm streaming it live. Here we go. Let's see what he's saying here. Everyone's applauding him. He's all getting teary-eyed. Here we go.
My mom is 84 years old.
Yeah, that's good.
And she's at home watching.
Good. Talk about your mom.
I just want an Oscar.
There you go. Good. That's how you do it. You make people appreciate, see the relationship with the mom. That's good.
My journey started on a And somehow, I ended up here on Hollywood's biggest stage.
That's
They
good.
say stories like this only happen in the movies. I cannot believe it's happening to me.
There you go.
This is the American dream.
He just endeared himself to like a huge new population there by doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the Academy for this honor of a lifetime. Thank you to my mom for the sacrifices you make to get me here. To my little brother, David, who calls me every day just to remind me to take good care of myself. I love you, brother.
There you go.
Thank you to Kendall for all your support and everything you've done. Thank you to A24, to Daniels, Jonathan, Jamie, Michelle, and my Goonies brother for life, Jeff Cohen.
You guys can hear that. I should probably switch it over.
I owe everything to the love of my life, my wife Echo, who month after month, year after year for 20 years, told me that one day, my time will come. Dreams are something you have to believe in. I almost gave up on mine. To all of you out there, please keep your dreams alive.
How's our buddy Bob Iger?
Thank you so much for welcoming me back. I love you. Thank you.
All right, that gets the heart from me. There you go. It's like he literally graduated from the John Hess School of Oscar speeches. What did I just say? What did I just say? You spread the love. You make the joy about everybody else. Well done. Beautiful. You didn't get crazy political. He didn't start listing off a bunch of people like as if he listed off the big characters. He didn't thank Jimmy the Wardrobe guy. He should have done Jimmy the Wardrobe. If I would go back there, I would say you do need to acknowledge Jimmy Wardrobe because he is the key, right? But well done speech. Look at that. What I tell you. You gotta realize. You gotta realize. I'm telling you. Listen to me. I know what's up. 24 frames a second. I'm not lying. Not lying. Thank you for the father for providing the sperm. Someone has got stones to get up there sooner or later. The longer you go, the more you can say. Yeah. See, it was a good acceptance speech. It was a very well done. It followed my advice. I would have said make it a little bit more about inspirational. He did great though. He did very, very, very good. Very, very good. Well done, short round. Very well done. So, Jimmy the Wardrobe is poor. He only has one coat. That booze is not apple juice. No, it's actually 101. It's legit stuff. I don't drink a whole lot anymore, but it's there for the character. Hey man, been a long time fan. I'm so curious how hard it is to make biopics. How would you approach that supposed Michael Jackson movie with I wouldn't do one. That's a can of worms. It's harder to make biopics because of the era. Anytime you do an era movie, you have to get era specific cars. You have to do a lot of background cleaning. You got to clean everything out. The cans need to be the right style of can. All that. It just gets crazy. So anytime you do an era picture, it's just a long pain in the butt. Here in the UK, we don't have meatloaf. You don't have meatloaf in the UK. Essentially, I think how I'm going to do it is a meatloaf is basically a giant meatball. So it's meatloaf is basically hamburger mixed with breadcrumbs. You can throw some onion in there. You can throw some spices, some seasonings, and then it's basically like a meatball the size of a bread, like a piece of bread, onions, garlic, meat, hamburger, breadcrumbs, an egg to kind of form it together. That's all it is. It's just a big fat meatball. And then you would put on top, traditionally they put on like a ketchup, tomato-based glaze. So like a sweet glaze on top. But I think I was going to try doing like a teriyaki. sauce because I'm lazy. This summer, John Hess is Jimmy Wardrobe. Jimmy Wardrobe, be there. Jimmy Wardrobe, Academy Award speech recognized Jimmy Wardrobe. I don't think they'll be serving meatloaf on the menu of the Oscar party. You never know. You never know. It's going to be like a dressed up meatloaf, you know. My meatloaf is identical to my meatballs. Nice. Nicely done. Nicely done. Very so. I got a nice meat shaft. Wait, that's too far. This is bad. MJ movie means paying a stuntman to set his hair on fire in Pepsi commercial. I don't remember that happening, but I'm sure it was. Ooh, there you go. Always drink while you're cooking. Good suggestion. I think I'll do that. This Jimmy, John Hess is Jimmy Wardrobe. Jimmy Wardrobe, be there, Jimmy. Jimmy Wardrobe. All right. And then Bailey's singing, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. And I was wondering what that was. Well, what would Meatloaf not stoop down to do? I don't know. Would you personally consider taking a job as a seat filler? Sure, why not? You never seen those guys even when the camera pans to the winner. Yeah, they're usually in the back. Just be your shelf, says Jimmy Wardrobe's Oscar acceptance speech. Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire in the 80s, and that's kind of why he started getting all those surgeries, perhaps. I don't know. All right, I'm going to get going here. Sorry, this is fun. And believe me, Jimmy Wardrobe jokes, keep them coming. Please leave comments. Just give me another Jimmy Wardrobe joke. That I'm totally fine with that. Seat filler is a job. Absolutely it is. Because you don't want to see the theater full of empty seats, because you can't fill the whole place up with Academy Award members. You got to get people in there that are, just fill the seat. Just so that it looks like it's a full crowd. Otherwise, it might be kind of empty in there. Don't want that. especially the up top rows, Yep. So, but anyhow, cool. All right. Well, thanks guys. Leave a Jimmy the Wardrobe guy comment, and that way I know you're watching. Any video, you can go all my videos. Just start leaving Jimmy Wardrobe approves. I'd be fine with that. You give that YouTube algorithm a little shot in the arm. So, all right, guys. Well, we'll come back here next week. I don't think I've got one event next week, but I'll say on Saturday, so I can come by. I think I'll do it on Sunday next week. So that is it for today. I'm going to go make some meatloaf, and actually I'm going to go to the store first. And I will see you guys. Oh, take that thing off real quick. All right, we'll see you guys next week, and enjoy the rest of the Oscars and everything. Everywhere, all at once will win for everything. That's my prediction, and I'm sticking to it. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Fade to black. Bye-bye.